Good evening, folks. Welcome inside the FamilyDeal.com 7 Sports Cave. I'm your host, Justin Rose. Tonight's show will discuss the Red Wings and Pistons draft picks. Pistons analyst Greg Kelser stops by to discuss what he likes about the team's new crop of players, plus the Rocket Mortgage Classic kicking off this week. We've got tournament director Jason Langwell in studio to get you set for what you can expect. But first, news of the day. Today was a busy one for the Michigan baseball team. They held their final practice before they have a series of a lifetime in the College World Series against Vanderbilt tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. And while their journey to the finals was fun and exciting to watch, they're not just happy to be there. They want to win the whole thing.
We have the opportunity to be on the top of the mountain at the end of the season coming up. We're just going to get there by doing what we have been doing, playing loose, having fun, and taking it one game at a time.
When you make it just about baseball and just about immersing yourself with your teammates and enjoying the moment together, and just focus on the game and how you play the game between the white lines, that's what's been a recipe for our success, especially in this tournament.
We expected ourselves to be here. We saw ourselves here, and that's what we've been working for since day one. So for it to be here now is exciting, but we're still locked in and in business mode.
The Cleveland Indians. The Cleveland Indians. They've had a hold on the Tigers for some time now. Even back a few years ago, if you recall, Detroit wasn't in that full rebuild quite yet, but it seemed like Cleveland had their number. So far this season, it's been that same story. The Tigers have just one win against Cleveland in 7 tries coming into today's contest series finale, of course. Things got off to a hot start. Jacoby Jones goes yard, 9th home run of the season for him. Maybe the Tigers turn it around today. Daniel Norris went 7 strong innings today. That is encouraging to see, but what isn't is when he's hit hard. Bobby Bradley scores a run with that ground rule double in the 2nd. Then those ugly errors that the Tigers have really struggled with this year popped up again. Nico Goodrum trying to do a little bit too much there. Yeah, Ron Gardenhire's like, what was that? Indians plate 5 in that inning. Later on, Carlos Santana, his 17th home run of the year. Tigers swept in the land 8-3. They're now 1-8 against the Indians this season.
It's, when you're losing and, everything's kind of compounded. We're finding little things during the game that are causing us to find a loss, unfortunately. It's a focus thing. Of course it's a pride thing. I don't think anybody wants to come out here and struggle. But defensively, you just got to stay focused. And, as a team, overall, we just got to keep going.
Steve Yzerman made his first draft pick, as the Red Wings GM Friday night, selecting German defenseman Moritz Seider, 6th overall. Surprised many people, including Seider himself. Yzerman clearly wanted a defenseman. He's a 6'3", big presence on the back end.
Well, it's not a curveball in our estimate, but I know Moritz wasn't rated highly in all the mock drafts, but we felt the top 5 kind of went as we thought it would, and it was only an educated guess. Ultimately, we had a chance to get a big, intelligent, smart, good skating defenseman, and we feel they're hard to find, so we stepped up and took them.
I was shocked for sure. I didn't expect that at all, and my whole body was shaking. I looked to my mom, and she was so excited. So it's been an unreal moment for my whole family and myself.
Yeah, gotta love the response there. Sekou Doumbouya, get to know the name. It's the Pistons' first-round pick. He was in Auburn Hills on Friday speaking to the gathered media for the first time. He's a young guy, played in France, just 18 years old. He's happy to learn from head coach Dwayne Casey, though, because Casey, he's helped mold a team before with young talent, the one in Toronto, filled with foreign-born players.
I like what he doing with the young man, with the team. I like what he do with Pascal Siakam, my favorite player right now, and I'm just happy to be here to work with him.
I told him I didn't think he'd ever see us again. He said because I thought he was going to go before us, and we got lucky, and luck is a lot of it because he's a talented young man. At his size and athleticism, he can guard 4 positions, probably 5. And to have him and a guy like Andre to be able to switch on the different players, and that's what the NBA is today.
You should be excited about a kid who's, 18 years old, barely 19 years old. Greg Kelser is here, Pistons, color guy for Fox Sports Detroit, and you follow a little bit of basketball. Before we get into the Pistons draft picks, I want to go back to 1979.
Oh, wow.
When you were
Way
picked, and what was your thought process on draft night?
Well, I knew I was going to be picked in the top 5. I ended up being 4, but I didn't find out it was going to be the Detroit Pistons until the night before the draft. I got a call letting me know that Milwaukee and Detroit had swapped spots 4 and 5, and that I was going to be the 4th pick. And I was excited about it. Just a chance to see your dream, your childhood dream, come to fruition. It was very exciting. Nothing like the draft the way they hold it now. They had maybe 8, 10 of us in New York for a morning draft, no televisions and all that stuff. But it was still exciting for the guys that were part of it.
Isn't it interesting how many moving pieces are on draft night now?
Oh,
I mean,
goodness.
it is like Pistons made, 2 or 3 different picks for other teams, and the same thing, the teams are picking these guys for them?
You know what, I'm always impressed with the guys. Obviously, everybody has to do their homework. If I were part of the draft, if you were part of the draft, we'd do our homework, we'd have our notebooks, we'd have all our information, but I'm always still impressed with all the guys who know the tendencies, the positives and the weaknesses of all these guys' names you've never heard of, guys who have played other parts of the world. They seem to know all of that stuff and can give you some accurate description of who they are and what they're capable of doing. I marvel at that.
So the Pistons, we already knew, we heard it all season long. They weren't going to tank. They weren't going to do that. They made the playoffs, the 8th seed. We saw what we saw against Milwaukee. But this draft, to me, especially when we look at Sekou Doumbouya, we're trying, both of us here, to get the name correct, because we're going to be hopefully saying it a lot. Look, this is a top 10 projected kid. He slips to 15. Pistons pick him up. Do you love it, or where are you at with it?
When I saw his footage, when I saw his highlights, I immediately thought of the player that everybody's comparing him to, Pascal Siakam, who helped Toronto win a championship just last week. I like his size. I like his ball handling ability. I know he's 18, but he's been playing professional basketball for 3 years already. You could go back to Tony Parker, another kid from France who came into the league young, but was ready to go because he too had played a number of years professionally. They get into it a lot earlier over there than the youngsters here. So I think all of that hopefully bodes well. The Pistons are trying to get more athletic. They're trying to get guys that can put it on the floor and create their own offense and do things off the dribble. He seems to be able to do those things.
Will he have an impact next year? Or is this more of one of those, hey, we're going to have him, we're going to let him kind of go back and forth between Grand Rapids and Detroit and kind of see what we can do with him?
Well, here's the good thing for him. He's playing for a coach whose reputation has been of late being able to develop young guys. When I look at Toronto's roster, and I had this conversation with Dwayne Casey when he first came on as Pistons coach, and I talked about Pascal Siakam, I talked about Jakob Porter, who was part of the trade that brought Kawhi in from San Antonio. We talked about Norman Powell and Fred VanVleet. These were all young guys who got a lot of playing time on a 59-win team. And then this year they got even better, those that were still in Toronto. And whenever I would see these young guys do something, I would attribute it to playing for a head coach like Dwayne Casey. So that, I think, will help the Pistons' young guys, and maybe they'll have a chance. Last year this time we were talking about Bruce Brown and Isaiah Cannon, guys like that. Well, Bruce ended up being a starter for most of the year on a playoff team. So you just never know, but you're hopeful.
All right, let's talk about 2 of the other guys they did get in this draft. Beyond just getting more second-round picks, that was real key for them to kind of recoup some of the Stan Van Gundy losses over the last couple of years. But we got Davidas Servaitis, their second-round pick, and then Jordan Bone, point guard out of Tennessee. We know a little bit more about Bone because we saw him play and carry Tennessee as their point guard through. But when you look at these 2 guys, obviously second-rounders, more project picks, what do you like from those 2?
Servaitis reminds me of Luke Kennard. He's left-handed. He's a spot-up shooter. You and I watched some of his clips together. He showed us that he could put it on the floor a little bit, not a lot. But he can flat out knock down the shot from range. And that's something the Pistons also need to shore up. Their outside shooting, they've got to be better in that area. He could provide that. Bone, I really liked what I saw of him. We were watching his clips as well. Athleticism, confidence, exudes. He can put it on the floor. He can shoot his little floaters. He can get to the basket at 6'2". He can finish. He's a good passer, too. I think he's going to be an excellent complement. And I expect, based on the limited footage that I was able to view, I think he's going to vie for some serious playing time.
Well, of course, and we also talked about this as well. You and I both know that we have no idea at this point. We have to watch them through the summer league.
Right.
We have to see them go through one full season in the NBA, see if they can even live that lifestyle. But there is truth to the fact that every one of these players that got picked started playing basketball as a youngster. Probably at a camp like the one that you continue to have and hold here in the metro area every single summer. I mean, this is something I've been covering since I got back here, and I love seeing how these kids get there and they learn and they do off the court stuff with you. I mean, this is such a great camp, and it's coming back again. Tell us about
Coming back again. I don't know for how much longer, though, but
10, 15 more years.
Well, let's hope so. But we will be back in action. We've got 2 camps in Detroit that are already filled. But we have 2 other camps, one at West Bloomfield High School in August, and prior to that, late July, we have a camp at Grosse Pointe North High School. And the information, folks can go to my website, GregoryKelser.com, GregoryKelser.com. They can get all the information. It's boys and girls ages 7 to 17. We boast that it's more than basketball. It's education, it's life skills, it's a whole lot of things that we think are important for these youngsters as they're developing right now, growing, and we just like to be able to play a positive role. The thing we love the most is when parents tell us that, you know what, we've been saying such and such to our children forever, but you said it, your coaches said it, and somehow it resonated, changed their attitudes. Now they're getting better grades. We get that a lot, and we really pride ourselves on that.
Make sure you go check it out, GregoryKelser.com. Get your spot for your youngster now. They're filling up quickly. The camp's quickly approaching as well. In the meantime, thank you so much for coming in. As always, hey, enjoy the golf links. And before you go, you got to hit the basket.
Oh, the shot.
You got the shot? Let's hit that shot. Come on. Oh! Hey, you're just like me. We'll be right back.
All right.